the process that was involved.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. All right. Hey, Joshua Masters here again with Masters Fencing. I'm going to take you for a final walkthrough of a board-on-board style, 6-inch wide Alta premium pickets. The difference in these pickets, as opposed to the usual pickets you see on most fences that are 5.5 inches wide, these are of course 6 inches wide. Plus they're 3/4 of an inch thick, as opposed to the 5/8 thick board. So they also have a tendency to warp, split a lot less, and they're pre-stained and pre-sealed. So you wouldn't have to coat them again for maybe 6 months to a year, I would suggest. Here, starting on the side, we'll go inside the property. We'll kind of just look on the outside here. I set a post right beside the house. This, of course, would be called the latch post. And we'll go over the hardware. A little small access gate here. And we installed what's called following the flow of the property. We don't use pre-made or pre-manufactured panels. Every picket is hand nailed and handcrafted. The inside are the 2x4 picket touching the 2x4 actually gets a 2 1/4 inch nail. That will go as far through as possible and as far through the 2x4 as possible without protruding on the other side. Ring shank coilated. And the outside, our face picket, we use a 2 1/2 inch ring shank coilated. And so also, whenever we nail the outside, we're sure to hit here, this picket, and the 2x4 behind. Of course, over time, that will help prevent warping, separation, so it should stay nice and private for the entire life of the fence. There shouldn't be any boards popping out, bottoms curling, top curling. Here again, following the flow of the property, stayed about 1/2 inch to maybe 1 inch off the ground. Don't want the ground to, of course, cause the pickets to rot out faster. We'll follow on down through here in the corner. And so yeah, the board-on-board style, these pickets, the inside board, because they are 6 inches wide, I left a 4-inch gap between each picket. And so that's a total of 10 inches. 6-inch board overhangs 1 inch on each side of the picket. Over time, pickets, when they lose their moisture, they can shrink, could lose up to 1/4 of their density size. But overhanging 1 inch on each side, this guarantees for the entire life of the fence, even 20, 30 years from now, it will always remain completely private. You'll never be able to see through any cracks, splits, spaces, hence the name board on board. So here we'll follow the flow of the property again, staying straight across the top. There was no transitions here. The yard was pretty flat, so it turned out really nice, flat across the top. So when I installed these pickets, when I installed the inside picket and the face picket, of course, I would hammer this one in, of course, the top all the way through, and then come back through and level every other picket, and then come back and split the difference. And that way, not every picket's going to be perfectly straight, but then that way your fence is straight. So we'll continue to follow the flow of the property on down through here to the corner. On the back side was actually, because it's not going to be visible by customers, by pedestrians, or it's not really facing the road. After discussing it with my customers, I said Stockade would be fine. Saved a little bit of money on the pickets. Let me get a shot here of the board, because we can't really get back around there once we get inside. So as you see, straight line through there, I believe that's about 180 feet. Of course, staying straight across the top, following the flow of the property. Okay, and then now we can head on back into the property and see craftsmanship. So all in all, this fence, this 294 linear feet, it should take anywhere between 2 and 4 days, depending on how many guys you got. Of course, it took me a little bit longer. I did the majority myself, and I had family emergency. But, we'll head on inside the property again. I I love this tree with this right here. I think it really sets this fence off.
Yeah.
I think it really acts in it.
Yeah.
It does, yeah. And it's set at just the right distance. Usually I wouldn't recommend setting trees or large plants, but it's just the right distance away that it's not going to ever cause issues butting to the fence or because also the type of tree it is. You know, so it's not really going to go out like a pine or anything. So here the hardware that I installed with, of course out here you got a little access handle, and it's really simple to operate. The latch is pushed down like that. It's got a little spring mechanism right here. I got some heavy duty bolts right here. If you want to lock it, see there's a breaker bar that comes into right here, and see this comes up. So see you press down like that so you can open it from this side or this side. If you want to lock it from this side, you can put a bolt, padlock, anything in here. Okay, it'll be easier to see. And yeah, I always give my gates a good slam. Make sure everything holds nice and stationary. Of course, the gate post here used about 60 pounds of fast set concrete. The reason I was able to do it like this is because this gate was only 3 feet. Usually I will do an adjacent brace, but it was only 3 feet, and I also did lat joints on the corners. So it's very stationary. Here on the gate post, I use butterfly hinges. The inside or the middle screw is about 6 inches long, so that's really the whole meat of the whole thing. That's what's really holding everything together. I made sure that this post was as firm as a tree before hanging it. Got a little access handle right here. Stayed about a ½ inch away from the house with the first picket and the 2x4, being sure not to touch the house with any wood. You know, it won't cause termites or any issues with the residents there. And so each post, we used about 25 to 35 pounds of concrete, depending. Whenever we dug the holes, ran the string line, we of course kicked the string line back, digging past the string line, making sure that whenever we concreted, not just on 3 sides, but all 4 sides of the post. So kick dirt in, concrete, pack down, then a little bit of dirt back on top, pack down, and then we came back through and ran the rails. And then the rails, I run, instead of 8-foot rails, I run 2x4x16s for a couple of different reasons. You know, I believe it holds the structure together better, and also if this mid were to hit like a big pipe or something, you might have a ½ foot of clearance or whatnot through there. And so here, set the key post at 68 inches. Key post is any post that's not a line post. So you got your end post, your gate post, then you have your corner post, corner post, corner post. And each one set at 68 inches from the ground. And then I ran a string line across, and I was able to keep that height according to what the distance was from the string line to the ground. If it was anywhere between, say, 67.5 to 69, 70 inches, I know that now would only be maybe 1 inch to 2.5, 3 inches off the ground. And here, if I want to throw the clock here, hit the corner post here. There was an existing fence here, so pretty much just went right back into the same holes and the same fence line here. Here, you might be able to see a transition in this one because the property does begin to slope down. It stays pretty level through here. It almost does a rainbow arch on the side. And so right here, if you see on the top of the picket, there's a transition post. So kind of coming up, and then start traveling back down. Hence the term verbatim following the flow of the property. And then that's always what you want with every fence. Don't want it to be level. You want it to be straight across the top following the flow of the property. And each 2x4, we nailed in 2 to 3 3.5 inch ring shank framing nails, hot dip galvanized. And again, following the flow of the property, right here. And so this, of course, is the back of the board on board here, and this is the back line here where we did the installed the stockade style. And so that's kind of the difference between the board on board and the stockade. Stockade just, of course, means picket by picket. In essence, it's called semi-privacy because even though they're touching right now, you know, the pickets will shrink eventually over time. And so, you know, if somebody was really wanting to bad, they might be able to see through where they meet right here. But, you know, it is fewer pickets, so you can save a little bit on cost. You know, usually about 17 to 18 pickets per panel on a Stockade, and 24 to 25 pickets per panel on a board on board. And, oh yeah, I forgot to mention on this little bush right here to make sure it didn't kind of butt back over. I just cut you a little 2x4 here, painted it up, and just tied a little rope right here for decoration, just so it kind of, you know, straighten up here.
Okay.
And coming on back here. Now we get to the fun part of the build drive. Well, right here, we did a little 8-foot panel section. We didn't continue on further because that's the neighbor's post side usually means ownership side. And so, but if she'd like me to install it, I'd be more than glad. But we can take a cut through here and check out the belt drive here. This is my favorite part. This is what I love to do. All of my gates I custom build. Biggest issues on most fences, of course, is going to be the gates. I said, first of all, most important, and I always tell my guys, most important, and until you can do this, forget about putting pickets or rails, is a foundation. You have to have a firm foundation. You'll be the best fence installer in the world, but it don't make a hill of beans if you don't have a firm foundation. It's going to be on the ground. So each foundation post is 6 by 6 by 10. Went about 3 to 4 feet down in the ground, and I used right around 100 pounds of concrete. I made sure that these were as firm as that tree before hanging them. Now, when I constructed these gates, I did lap joints on the corners, and then I did a toe-nailed 4-inch screws into a middle brace here, and then fitting snug adjacent braces. Very important, making sure that the adjacent braces point down at the post, so the fulcrum point will be back at that post instead of, you know, back down here on the ground. And this is where the beef is right here. 12-inch T-hinges, 5 screw slots, 5 screw slots. And so that's 3 of them right there, definitely gonna hold it on. Everything also pilot hold. I've learned that the hard way when I first started out too. So everything pilot hold, and same thing on this side. And then now the hardware here. So first, I guess the latch, it's just the same as the little 3-foot there. The stationary gate, or the gate that you want to keep closed most of the time, is going to be this gate. This is going to be the gate that holds everything together, pretty much, I guess. For efficiency purpose, the gate closest to the house is main access. So flip up, and then boom, you can come in and out right through here if you need to, and then you might have to grab a brick or something for right here so that would stay open. But then if you need the distance, I put a drop rod right here on your stationary gate. I also had a 2-foot long piece of PVC pipe, hammered down the ground, rubber piece of mallet, rubber mallet, lifted it back out, kicked the dirt out, hammered it back down, and here, this one is, you just lift it up like this. Well, whoa. So, if you notice here, it's got little bumps. It's got little bumps on the side of the drop rod here, and so that can sit right there on the side, and that's your catch. So you can operate it, open and close it right here like this, and then boom, got your 10-foot wide, and you can back 18 wheelers through here. Can't back a trailer through this, and need more practice.
Right.
But we'll come back through here, drop down the stationary rod here, and close this one up. Make sure to give it a good little shut there. Make sure it all holds nice and tight. And here I also kind of added another little feature here, just to make sure that at the bottom here everything stays kind of nice and lined up. This doesn't have to be latched at all times. Just know that if this is latched, then you can't open it from the front. Now you can open it from both sides as long as this isn't latched. But if that's down, then it's stationary. Say you got you got a big storm coming in. Say you got Hurricane Katrina's coming in. And so now you really want to batten down the hatches and put everything stationary. I also added these handles here. You could use an 8-foot, whatever kind of board you want it to. But if you put this like this, that also kind of helps secure everything up there, makes everything nice and firm. And I just put that kind of right there beside that post. And we can check the outside out here real quick. All right. Yep. And then got some nice handles here for access for the front here as well. And so like that. And of course this was Stockade as well. When I first started out, I was doing a lot of my 10-foot double drive board on board, and it's okay, but it's a lot of unnecessary weight. You know, that when it's 5 foot long, you know, I mean, there's nothing that could stop a wood from warping, or, you know, not warping, but I guess bending or bowing. It all depends on the quality of lumber. And so Stockade style, you know, it's just secure, and they're still heavy. My gates are really, really heavy, beefy, bulky, but they don't operate that way because of the hardware. So falling for the proper through there, staying nice and straight across the top. And that about does it. And from myself and everyone here at Masters Fencing, as always, we thank you for installing with us.